UKBN.
Welcome, sportsmen, to the Outdoor Icon Show. Brought to you by Duck's Deer Sinks, home of Duck's Double Doe, 2 deer, 1 bottle. Now, your hosts, Denny Malloy and Rob Palowitz on News Radio 570 WKBN.
Yeah, I'm in love with a girl in a four-wheel drive, chrome steel bumper.
Welcome, sportsmen, to the Outdoor Icon Show here on News Radio 570 WKBN. I'm your host, Denny Malloy, here with Rob Palowitz, and we are coming at you live from Indianapolis, Indiana, home of the Baltimore, home of the Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts, Dennis.
And down here, we are down here in Indianapolis for the Archery Trade Association's annual trade show. We are looking at literally thousands of the top bow hunting, outdoor manufacturers, reps, sporting goods stores all across the country that get together under 270,000 square feet of exhibitor space, displaying their new products.
A lot of new products out there, Den, and one thing I've already learned, I think I need to upgrade my whole bow concoction, I guess I'll call it, because I tell you what, all the gadgets out there, the rest that exist I didn't even realize existed. Being in the industry, there's still plenty of things that you learn.
Well, we had a couple Native American Indians walk by Rob yesterday and laugh at his what Rob was using.
Yeah, that's good.
So
stuff.
it is time to upgrade. We had a great show for you today. We have C.J. Winan from Bowhunter Magazine is going to be with us live here in Indianapolis.
We're going to drill him, put him on the spotlight here, and have him get in the hot seat.
We also have another big-name guest that we're hoping is going to be able to swing by our booth here at about half past the hour.
Yep.
And we got all kinds of news and tidbits, and the latest products were unveiled here at the show. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that.
And we're definitely live in Memorex here.
We're broadcasting live from the Hilton downtown Indianapolis, and if you stay tuned, we'll be right back in just a few minutes, bring you live info and action from the ATA show, Archery Trade Association in Indianapolis. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you're into hunting, fishing, or just about anything that happens outdoors, the best sale of the entire year is on now at Gander Mountain. Because right now, it's the sale at Gander Mountain, where you can save up to 50%. In fact, every in-stock hunting, fishing, and camping item, all outerwear, and even our entire stock of firearms are on sale. It's the perfect chance to save big on every kind of hunting, fishing, and camping gear you can imagine, and a few things you've never imagined. This is no wimpy little after Christmas sale either. So if you didn't get everything you wanted over the holidays, or you just want to get an early jump on spring, you need to be at Gander Mountain right now. But remember, the sale is only for a limited time, and to get the best selection, you'd better hurry. The sale at Gander Mountain. Hey, this is one trip where nobody comes home empty-handed. Gander Mountain. We live outdoors.
Hi, y'all. This is Charlie Daniels. You're listening to Denny and Rob on the Outdoor Icon Show.
I ain't asking nobody for nothing. If I can't get it on.
We're back here on the Outdoor Icon Show here on News Radio 570 WKBN. I'm your host, Denny Malloy, with Rob Palowitz. And again, we are coming at you live from Indianapolis, Indiana at this 6:10 on the morning of Saturday, January 8th.
And CJ just informed us we have a few inches of snow out there, Den. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess back home we're looking at about 40 degrees or so.
Well, when we came down from the northeastern Ohio area, heading to Indianapolis on Thursday,
We had a sight.
we had a rainstorm all through central Ohio with freezing rain. Weighed the trees down. When we came down 70, it looked like a tornado. It came down 71 toward Columbus, Ohio.
Unbelievable. All the trees, all the way down, just a straight line, like you said, like a tornado came through.
Like dominoes. The trees were like dominoes, and they were knocked down all the way down, all through the central part of Ohio, from Ashland County all the way down through Mansfield, just north of Columbus. And power was out. It was it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it was dangerous roads.
It was kind of a little small. Tsunami, I guess, of its own, because all the flooding that was taking place. They had a water advisory here in town.
Even
for about
Indianapolis right now, the state of Indiana is under an advisory because of all the flooding. We literally saw, as we came through Columbus, through Xenia, Springfield, Ohio, Dayton. Anywhere where there was a river was no longer a river. It was just a big floodplain. But I'll tell you what, there were ducks everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of ducks,
These
a lot
duck
of geese
hunters
we saw.
in the southern part of Ohio, hitting that late season in Ohio. If you can't find a duck in southwest Ohio, at least, there's something wrong.
And it looked like they were hitting a little bit of the fields and definitely en route to hitting small bodies of ponds and water that were there. Even saw some ducks sitting in the flooded cornfields.
Yep, ducks and flooded cornfields. We saw wherever there was dry ground. We saw the deer were trying to take refuge.
Right.
We saw a few coyotes roaming across the high ground. And I'll tell you what, though, boy, it would have sucked to have been a turkey Wednesday night with all them freezing trees. I could just picture the turkey up on the limb, and all you see is his eyeballs blinking because he can't move.
It would have definitely been like a Bugs Bunny thing there.
A Turksicle.
A Turksicle. That's a good one, Dan.
But as we are in Indianapolis this morning, our guest today, Mr. C.J. Winan, he came over from his hotel, and he informed us we had a couple inches of snow outside now in Indianapolis.
Yep, that's what he was saying.
Well,
so.
it's a bustling city here. If you've never been to Indianapolis, I would encourage you to take the trip down here. When you get downtown area, there's a lot of great hotels. Yeah. There's a lot to see and do.
A lot of restaurants.
A lot of great restaurants. Rob and I hit an Italian restaurant the other night, Buca di Beppo.
Yep. And family-style eating there was pretty
excellent.
Good.
We have some in the Ohio area, and 2 in Cuyahoga County, 1 in Strongsville, 1 in Mayfield Heights area, and I was informed there's 1 in Columbus also. But great place to take the family. We hit a Mexican restaurant last night. We got the Shula Steakhouse here in town, and you take a taxi everywhere you go. The people here in Indianapolis are very friendly, very open to tourists, and very accommodating for a trade show like the one we have here with the Archery Trade Association show.
Yeah, everyone's real accommodating, and it's there's plenty to do, and it's easy to get around too. There's shopping there for the ladies, and maybe even for some of those men out there that maybe forget a pair of socks.
Like my co-host here the other night, as the power went out in Central Ohio, we were at a hotel in Ashland, right near Fin, Feather, and Fur, and we woke up 6 o'clock in the morning. Freezing cold.
Freezing cold.
What the heck's going on here, Rob? Did you turn the heat off?
No.
Well, electricity went out in the hotel. So we were freezing cold. We had to shower in the dark. We had to get dressed in the dark. And I informed Rob as we were driving, Rob, you look like you got dressed in the dark because he had his dark shoes on with a dark pair of pants with white socks sticking out. So the first thing we did is I made him stop at a store here and get himself a new pair of socks. Well, I don't want to be seen in public with them.
And you know how style conscious I am, and for me to have a pair of white socks on like that did bother me after you.
We can literally say you got dressed in the dark, and I can vouch for that.
And hey, we will be taking callers today, even though we are live. You can reach the station here at the Outdoor Icon here at News Radio 570 WKBN at 330-729-9977 or 1-800-777-5700 or star 57 on your cell one or Alltel cell phone. And we'll take some callers here if you have some questions when we get in here to CJ and our other guest. It looks like it just wandered in here.
The legendary Bob Folkrod just wandered in the door.
We're introduced him. Yep, there you go, right there.
And Bob is he's on his obsession quest, and one of the toughest challenges he's going to have is making it through the Outdoor Icon show with us. Forget the doll sheep and the Big Five in Africa. He's got Rob and Denny to deal with on the Outdoor Icon show.
So we'll hit him up with some questions here in a little bit. And, then back to those products. Did you see anything that stood out right off the bat that looks like something you want to, talk about?
Well, I'll tell you, two things jumped out at me, and literally every archery manufacturer is here. All the bow manufacturers, tree stands, you name it. If you hunt with it, if you bow hunt with it, it's here at the show. And some of the things, Matthews Bows has a new bow out, the Switchback, which I'm sure is going to be flying off the shelves. Mm-hmm. It's replacing the Outback from last year. Another thing that I think is really going to sell good is the Under Armour gear.
Oh yeah,
you see all the athletes wearing, we must protect this house commercials.
Protect this house.
It was like debuted on Playmakers on ESPN last year. They have a line of camouflage Under Armour gear coming out. Yeah. They've increased the waistband type of thing, make it a little more comfortable. looks a little bit more like long johns, but it's going to keep you warm, and I think that's going to be a big seller in 2005.
For us outdoorsmen that might not have the ripped up bellies like like the football players do, the flexible waistband will definitely go over. Probably.
You don't think that model looked like me that was up on the display?
No, I don't think he'll look like you.
Well, I'm sure they have a portly size.
Yeah. You'll have to make that in the triple, quadruple X, I guess, for you, Denny.
Well, this archery trade show, I'll tell you a little history about this here. We're looking at, in 2003, the AMO, which was the archery, I guess, governing body for the archery industry,
right,
reorganized into the Archery Trade Association. Of that, they've got two branches: Aerosport, which promotes target archery. It promotes the sport of archery, everything from Olympic archery shooters to the guys that shoot competitively in all factions of the sport. And then they have the BPA, which is the Bowhunter Preservation Alliance, and that is the governing body that oversees basically the hunters, the hunting branches of it. It's a tax-free organization devoted to education and research to grow and protect bow hunting.
Okay.
And bow hunting is a big growing sport, from the Archery in the Schools programs nationwide to all of the work that's being done by all the people here at the Archery Trade Show, all the manufacturers. They're all giving back in some way to try and promote archery with the kids, promote self-esteem with children, and bring archery back to be mainstream as far as a hobby and as a sport for kids growing up. And we're going to introduce to the show now, we have C.J. Winan, one of our first guests. C.J. writes for Bowhunter Magazine. He was a colleague of mine at West Virginia University, although he went to Penn State University before that, and I believe you did some time at Texas A&M too, didn't you, CJ?
Yeah, I was a professional college student for 8.5 years.
Well, CJ, he is a national promotions director for Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry. And first, CJ, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, what we call FHFH is a national feeding ministry. As you well know, every state in the nation and in Canada, the main common denominator is drumming up dollars to pay for the butchering for all the wild game that we harvest throughout the United States. What we've done in Maryland is simply unique anywhere in the country, in that what we do through legislation, we get $1 off every single licensed hunter in the state. All those dollars literally go to feeding the hungry. Now, a little old state like Maryland, we have approximately 100,000 hunters. That's literally $100,000 that come in to feed the hungry. Just last year alone, we literally did over 65 ton of deer meat donated free of charge to the homeless throughout our state. Assuming one deer provides 200 meals, quarter pounders if you will, we did a little less than 500,000 meals.
That's fantastic. And FHFH, you have chapters all across the country now also. I know in our listening area, the 5 or 6 state region of our the bulk of our area, we've got chapters in Ohio, we've got them in Pennsylvania. That's something that you help to spread? People can start a local chapter in their area?
Very much so. I think we're up to over 70 chapters. We'll have over 100 guaranteed by year's end. There's no doubt whatsoever. Basically what we're doing, why reinvent the wheel? We have a model that's worked fantastic in Maryland, so we're copying and plagiarizing state by state by state.
Well, and the industry is basically behind FHFH. It's the way that people from some of the major companies, and I'll let you announce who some of your bigger supporters are, they can give back through their business to give back in a nonprofit way to help out the hunters, where we know the sportsmen's organizations do it day in and day out on the local level. You on the national level organize those groups and their donations to funnel the money to support the homeless and the hungry through your program, right?
Exactly. Matt McPherson with Matthews Archery has just been phenomenal, what he has given. Easton, Night Muzzleloaders, whether your archery gun, everyone has come together with a common goal of feeding the hungry. The program sells itself.
Okay, CJ, with that, I'm going to announce our numbers again. If you have questions for Mr. CJ Winan or for our next guest, Bob Folkrod, you can call us at 330-729-9977. Coast to coast, 1-800-777-5700 or star 57 on your cellular one or Alltel cell phone, and we will pay the bill. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about CJ's escapades as a outdoor writer and as a wildlife biologist, and we will bring Bob Folkrod into the show, and he's going to tell us about something that's never been done in history before, and something I think you're all going to enjoy, and you're all going to be looking forward to hearing. We're all going to see it in the next couple of years, literally in any hunting publication you pick up, and any hunting-related channel you see. Bob Folkrod's going to become even more of a household name than he is now. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with you here in the Outdoor Icon Show on News Radio 570 WKBN.
The Outdoor Icon Show, brought to you by Doc's Deer Sense, home of Doc's Double Doe 2 Deer 1 Bottle on News Radio 570 WKBN.
No, you may not hang at the park. Yes, even if all your friends are there. Go to Mrs. Feldman's till I'm home from work.
Keeping tabs on your kid after school isn't easy.
Yes, tomorrow too.
But if you don't, she's more likely to do drugs.
No, I am not easier on your brother.
Do it. It'll always be worth it. Parents, the Anti-Drug. To learn more, call 1-800-788-2800 or visit theantidrug.com. Sponsored by the ONDCP and the Partnership for Drug-Free America.
Iowa and OSU basketball, today at noon on 570 WKBN. Hunters, why not use the secret weapon to bag those big bucks? Doc's Deer Sense, the only deer scent where you get 2 deer in 1 bottle. Twice the scent power to attract those big bucks. Doc's Deer Sense revolutionary method of gathering and bottling the freshest deer urine for the most powerful scent. Doc's Deer Scents are not frozen and are bottled current season, which enhances its effectiveness. Doc's Deer Herd and state-of-the-art urine collection facility is maintained in all wooded lots where deer can feed on their natural foods. The facilities are clean and climate-controlled with an air filtration system to keep unwanted odors, hormonal attributes, and bacteria from becoming absorbed into the urine. If you want to bag the big buck, then choose Doc's Deer Sense and get the unfair advantage on your next hunt. Doc's Deer Sense, available at better hunting and outdoor retailers.
It sends fear through all who feel its presence. It's not normal or natural. It's chaotic. It's explosive. It's diarrhea. Make peace with your body with Imodium. It calms the chaos, often in just 1 dose. Imodium soothes, settles, and sends those monsters packing. Imodium AD. Make peace with your body. Use only as directed.
This is Travis Hafner of the Cleveland Indians. You are listening to Denny and Rob on the Outdoor Icon Show here on News Radio 570 WKBN. Happy hunting.
Welcome back to the Outdoor Icon Show here on Clear Channel News Radio 570 WKBN. I'm Denny Malloy here with Rob Palowitz. And Rob, we're in great company this morning. We've got C.J. Winan, an outdoor writer with Bowhunter Magazine, a wildlife biologist, wildlife consultant, promotions director for Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry, and an advisory staff member of a bunch of different things. And we have the man, Bob Folkrod, and he has a list here of people that he is affiliated with that is a mile long and is basically a who's who in the industry. And we're going to get to that here in a little bit. But CJ, I'll tell you what, something interesting. When we were preparing for the show last night, we did a search engine search on Google and typed in CJ Winan, and I knew FHFH was going to come up and some of the different things. Right between the Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry link and the Bowhunter link, there was a medical study in the middle that mentioned a CJ Winan, and in that study, I didn't get the bulk of who did the study. It was somewhere in Europe, but it was a study on the differential loss of chromosomes in the human gene pool. And I said, I'll tell you what, this is probably his bio here, and the rest of it is what he does. But I thought you'd be interested in that.
I am definitely genetically challenged. Yeah, I'll go along with that.
CJ, anybody that knows you in the industry, I'll tell you what, you are well known throughout the industry. And I'll tell you, you know why he's well known? Because he's persistent. He believes in this cause with Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry. He's dedicated to the cause. And he's like a fly you can't swat away. CJ will get your money one way or another to donate to the homeless and to donate the meals, whether you liked it or not. Eventually, you finally just give it and say, okay, what percentage do you want of our profits?
Yeah, my buddy at FHFH calls me a termite, a terminal termite. The neat thing that we did 3 years ago in Maryland, which was just incredible to us, license increases nobody wants to hear, i.e. for hunting licenses. Well, in the state of Maryland, it's been 12 years since we had a license increase. The boys needed dollars bad within the DNR. What we did, we put a bill together that $1 would be mandatory. Now, the thing has just blew us away. It was an election year. What we found out at literally 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes less than this in the. Oh, it's too early.
That's all, folks.
Left in the actual session, the $1 for feeding the hungry literally carried the bill. Right now, we have 3 different states with pending bills that are making it mandatory for hunters to donate $1. And guess what? Hunters will donate that $1.
Right.
Whether it's elk, pig, mule deer, whatever, we accept all venison donation. Additionally, we've been knocking on the doors down in Washington, D.C. through the U.S. Sportsman's Caucus. And whether you're Democrat or Republican, it really doesn't matter. The $2 million will be spread evenly, just like the Pittman-Robertson Act, that we're not asking for a handout, but it would be 25-75, 1-3 split for dollars. So we still have that grassroots effort throughout all 50 states where we can use all those dollars to feed the hungry. Now, a lot of folks come in, and it's not good to judge folks, but, oh, look at those poor souls down there. Let me tell you, it just rips your heart out when you hear some of these stories. Just rips your heart out. People it's so sad, and it's so appreciative, the folks that come in and eat this meat. Because believe it or not, the number one food commodity needed at all food banks around the country, the number one commodity, guess what item it is?
Red meat.
Meat.
Wow.
They just don't get it besides Thanksgiving or Christmas. And the millions and millions of meals that we've done, sportsmen, what better way to increase the hunter image? Let's face it, when we get messed up on all this court action, emotion, we can have all the biological facts and figures in the world, but emotion sells. So why not learn something from our animal rights friends and take emotion and throw it right back in their face?
Right. Well, you know what? How do hunters go about donating? Well, I guess we got a break coming up, but my question, how do they go about donating a deer? We'll come back here in a little bit.
Joe Dickey Electric proudly presents the High School Basketball Scoreboard. We're dedicated to furnishing the best qualified electricians for commercial, industrial, residential, fiber optics, communications, fire damage, or substation failures. Our 47 years in the electrical business begins with the strong leadership of David Dickey, our president, a new member of the Academy of Electrical Contractors, and with our committed staff, Superintendents Gene Toy, Pat Leonard, Brian Lindbergh, and Dave Liggett lead our commercial, industrial, and substation work. Our TEG division is led by Kevin Dickey, Gary White, Greg Williams, Jeff Wood, and Jeff Watts. They're equipped to handle all of your preventative maintenance while using their infrared technology. No electrical job is too large or too small for our full line of residential electricians under the leadership of Joe Dickey III, Dave Sherriaco, Jeff Sugar, and Justin Lewis, all of whom will assist you in all new homes, repairs, remodels, apartments, and condos, all on a 24-hour emergency service. Remember Joe Dickey Electric for all of your electrical needs. Call us at 330-549-3976 or 1-800-549-3976. You've tried the rest, now try the best.
The eBigDay.com Bridal Spectacular 2005 is Sunday, January 16th at Mr. Anthony's, South Avenue in Boardman. Doors open at noon and the fashion show begins at 2:30, featuring Matina's Bridal of Beechwood and the Rondinelli Tuxedo Company. You'll see the top designers in men's formal wear from the Rondinelli Tuxedo Company and wedding gowns and bridesmaid gowns exclusive to Matina's Bridal of Beechwood. Brides-to-be are invited to register for thousands of dollars in prizes, no purchase necessary. You can plan your entire wedding in just one afternoon. Don't miss the eBigDay.com Bridal Spectacular 2005, Sunday, January 16th at Mr. Anthony's in Boardman, featuring Matina's Bridal of Beechwood and the Rondinelli Tuxedo Company. Proudly promoted by 570 WKBN. Be sure to visit displays by Cards and Collectibles, Concept Spa and Salon, Dillard's, RT Audio, Something New Florist, and Spice of Life Parties, The Party People, Hoplo Diamond Jewelers, Hernan Insurance and Financial Services, Gold Cross Limousines, and Cafe Capri Italian Bar and Grill. For vendor information, phone 330-502-3006.
The Valley's news, weather, and sports authority depend on News Radio 570, WKBN Youngstown, a Clear Channel station.
A Occasional showers here today. Could see those showers mixing with snow showers by mid-morning. Mostly cloudy skies, though, and a high in the upper 30s. Ohio Attorney General James Petro says a former New Waterford car dealer was rolling back odometers on leased cars from GMAC. Petro says Midway Motors leased cars to a business that ended up with 80,000 miles on them. He says Midway then rolled the odometers back to 30,000, and they were either sold by Midway or GMAC. In June of last year, another company then not associated with Midway bought that dealership. The Mahoning County Grand Jury handing down several indictments this week, including that of 41-year-old Hubert Floyd Jr. Hubert is charged with attempted murder and aggravated robbery in the shooting of a 37-year-old independent taxi driver that happened this week. Hubert is accused of slashing the driver's jaw and then shooting him in the neck. The victim is recovering at St. Elizabeth's Hospital Medical Center. I'm Kathy Davis in the 570 WKBN Newsroom.
My first bank was a piggy bank. And then I caught my brother shaking coins out through the slot in my piggy bank snout. I switched to a real bank. It had a vault and no snout. Then I switched to a bank with higher interest rates. So began my life of bank hopping, always looking for a better rate, a better deal on checking, a free gadget for opening a CD. I got some deals, but in the long run, I mostly got exhausted. Then I got a great rate on a Farmers National Bank home equity loan. Later, I opened a Farmers Money Market account. Eventually, all my banking was with Farmers. No bank always has the best rates on every product and service, but I feel at home at Farmers. Farmers is locally owned, so my branch manager can make decisions about loans and transactions. When I walk into my Farmers branch, people know me. You can bank hop, or you can establish a relationship. Farmers National Bank, a wealth of common sense. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, everybody. This is Denny Liebert with boys high school basketball scores for the first Friday of the new year, brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. Up at Mooney, the Cards had a 1-point lead after the opening 8 minutes, but it was all Ursuline from there. The Irish got a game-high 21 from 6'8" Jerome Jones.
Gets Merrill. They get it inside to Jones. Got in behind the defense. Thought about stuffing it. Lays it in instead. Jones having a big second quarter.
570 WKBN's Jim Campbell. Jones with a big game. Beside the 21 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 block shots. The Irish now 7-1 after an 80-51 rout. Elsewhere last night, Rayan beat Wilson 62-53. Boardman lost at Canton McKinley 84-37. Fitch at home beaten by North Canton Hoover 56-39. Up at Harding, the Raiders got the shouting rights for the city of Warren, beating crosstown rival Kennedy 76-39. Alliance held on to beat Niles 62-59. Canfield 78-31 over Struthers. Poland beat Salem 61-38. Western Reserve rolled over Jackson Milton 66-38. Lowellville got by South Range 58-56. James Beadle had 27, including 3 free throws with only 1 second left. McDonald still perfect. The Devils 10-0 after beating Springfield 48-45. Brookfield beat Champion 68-50. LeBray 55-44 over Newton Falls. Liberty beat Girard 62-44. Lakeview 69-40 over Hubbard. Columbiana outlasted Crestview 59-56. Sebring 65-30 over East Palestine. United beat Latonia 77-55. And Lisbon over Southern 54-44. Up in Trumbull County, Maplewood 67-58 over Bristol. Badger beat Southington 56-43. Matthews 67-56 over Lordstown. And Pie Valley beat Bloomfield 75-38. West Branch nipped Marlington 59-55. And Youngstown Christian beat Fairport Harbor 58-29. Over in Western Pennsylvania, Kennedy Catholic 66-37 over Reynolds. Farrell beat Summit Academy 85-56. Sharpsville 64-55 over Wilmington. And Grove City beat Meadville 60-50. Those are the boys' high school basketball scores from the first Friday of the new year. Friday, January 7th, 2005. Brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. This is Denny Liebert.
Mostly cloudy skies for this Saturday. Some leftover rain or snow showers around this morning. We should make it into the upper 30s by this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies for Saturday night down to the upper 20s. And some sunshine for Sunday and a little warmer too. A high by Sunday afternoon right around 45. This is 27 First News meteorologist Don Guthrie.
The temp is 36 at 570 WKBN.
Wow, look at Jim's deer. You know, he usually bags a big deer every year.
Yeah, must be luck, you know?
Hey, we got the same camo gear.
Yeah, we've even got the same kind of gun.
And we even hunt the same areas.
Yeah, but it must be luck. What else could it be?
Ever wonder why the other guys like Jim seem to have all the luck? Well, maybe it isn't just luck. Maybe Jim uses a secret weapon that gives him the unfair advantage. It's Doc's Deer Sense, the only deer scent where you get the unfair advantage. 2 deer, 1 bottle. Doc's Deer Sense revolutionary method of gathering and bottling the freshest deer urine gives you the most powerful scent. Doc's Deer Sense are never frozen and bottled current season only, enhancing its effectiveness and your chances at bagging that big buck. Don't let your next hunt rely on luck. Use the unfair advantage. Use Doc's Deer Sense. 2 deer, 1 bottle. Sold at Better Hunting and Outdoor retailers.
570 WKBN.
Hey, Blood Brothers, celebrate that spirit of the wild. This is Uncle Ted Nugent, and we're rocking on the Outdoor Icon Show on 570 WKBN.
There I was, back in the wild again.
And we're back here on the Outdoor Icon Show. I'm Rob Palowitz here with Denny Malloy. We have guests C.J. Winan and Bob Folkrod in here. And C.J., what I wanted to get to, how do hunters go about donating any extra deer they get or deer? Some guys go out there, they actually, they might not want to eat their catch or their harvest, so to speak. I know I love to eat mine, but some guys don't. So how do they go about donating that?
Yeah, it's real simple. In fact, it's almost too simplistic. What we find throughout the nation is vast majority of hunters shoot at least 1 deer. Generally, they eat 1 deer. But from a state game management standpoint, we want people to shoot 2 and 3 deer, 4 plus. Well, the neat thing about it, once you harvest an extra deer, you bring it into the check station, i.e., or the butcher station. Now, whatever the butchering costs are, we assume all those responsibilities. All the butcher does has literally a list for FHFH, name, rank, serial number, the whole 10 yards. Denny Malloy shot a. That's not going to happen. Okay. Joe Smith shot a deer, and he's donating it. The butcher then gives all those names, numbers, tag numbers, gives us the actual list, and we generally pay, depending on what part of your country that you're in, anywhere from $40 to $50 a deer for butchering. We have as cheap as $20 and as high as $80 for butchering 1 single deer. They send us a bill, and we pay it.
The butchers will help out on that, too, because they can get a tax write-off, too, for donating the rest of the labor.
Exactly.
And it's something that the sportsman, if he does it, a lot of times, too, we encourage they drop the deer off. If you got a few bucks, put a few bucks towards the pot to pay for it yourselves. And FHFH is kind of like the governing, coordinating body to help facilitate it.
Yeah, this has been really a grassroots effort. Many churches all throughout the nation, they have like 1 Sunday a month. We call it Buck for the Hungry. So whenever the plate comes around, put in a buck. Believe it or not, that $1 can feed 4 meals. We have it down to basically a quarter a meal. The industry is real interested in this because it's a win-win situation in that, I shot my 1 deer, I fed my family, I don't know if I want to go out again, because if I shoot another one, I'm going to have to pay another $40, $50 for butchering. Well, if we pay for it, we're increasing recreational days of field. The more days in the field, you have a better chance of shooting a deer. And guess what? You're using more equipment. You're buying more product. So the rest of the industry, that's where they come through. And it's just been a wonderful experience.
And that is something. There's many local programs, but it's just one way of showing, I guess, the hunters give back. And on that note, I'm going to introduce and welcome Bob Folkrod into the show. And Bob, thanks for being here on the Outdoor Icon Show. And Bob looks a little different. You've seen him on TV. I'll tell you, you can't go through any of the outdoor shows without seeing Mr. Folkrod on there. Most notably, Bass Pro Shop show, where you do a fine job there, and that's something that is one of the shows I make sure that I don't miss every week. And Bob, on those shows, people will notice you had a little bit more hair on those shows. Tell us a little bit why you're sporting in this cold weather here in Indianapolis, a little bit of a shaved head look.
Well, they contacted. It started several years ago, where the people would get their head shaved for a cancer fund, and as we heard last night, 1 out of 4 of us will die of cancer. I think everybody knows somebody that's either died or it is dying of cancer, and it's just to raise money. It's I'll walk around today at the show with no hair, but hopefully, we did. We raised $50,000 last night, myself and Dave Watson and Bill Winke, which set up on stage and got their head shaved, and it was for a great cause.
Well, Bob, that was fantastic. Talking about hunters giving back, $50,000 was raised in literally 35, 40 minutes in the lobby of the convention center. For these guys, it started off with basically a $10,000 donation from Matthews Bows, and the rest of the industry stepped forward with check after check after check, and ended up that Mr. Folkrod, like you said, Dave Watson and Bill Winke had got their heads shaved, and they've joined the Baldy Club, I believe they called it. Over the last couple of years, they've had quite a few noted celebrities in the hunting industry, icons in the industry, get their heads shaved for cancer research, and it was a great thing. It was kicked off yesterday, too, by a young girl, had hair down to her butt, basically. I mean, this girl could have been more than 11 or 12 years old, and she said, I want to help, and she went up there and got her hair cut off, and that was a real touching moment, because you could tell this girl's been growing that hair probably for 6 or 7 years of her life, and they're going to donate that hair to cancer survivors to make wigs out of it, and that just opened up the tear ducts in people's eyes and their wallets, and they poured forth sportsmen giving back to something they do not need to give to. They raised $50,000 last night to add on to the literally hundreds of thousands of dollars the last couple of years. We're going to go to another quick break here. We come back, we're going to talk with Mr. Folkrod about his quest, the Obsession Quest Grand Slam, and find out what that's all about a little bit, find out how you can contact them, and we will take some of your calls coast to coast, 1-800-777-5700, or star 57 on your cellular one or Alltel cell phone, and we'll pay the bill. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Cortland Hardwood Products has everything you need for your next project. Visit Cortland Hardwood Products for a one-oak switchblade cover or for an entire house full of beautiful doors and trim. Cortland Hardwood carries the highest quality hardwood products from flooring to pre-hung doors. They have a huge in-stock selection of casings, bases, crowns, chair railings, stair parts, paneling, and much more. For something different, check out their exotic wood from around the world or their custom-built fireplace mantles. Stop in today and speak to the experts at Cortland Hardwood Products on State Route 46 or call them at 330-638-3232.
In just 10 minutes, get up to $150,000 of select term life insurance from the American Life Insurance Company of New York. There's no medical exam, and if you qualify, your coverage begins right away. Call now for more information and a free rate quote. 1-866-496-4500. Not available in all states. Based in New York City, American Life issues select term under form number ALNYSEL03 or state variation. Call now. 1-866-496-4500.
Country roads take me home.
We're back here on the Outdoor Icon Show, News Radio 570 WKBN. I'm Denny Malloy here with Rob Palowitz, Mr. Bob Folkrod, and CJ. We brought back in the show here with Country Roads. CJ was a colleague of mine in West Virginia, but we signed a confidentiality agreement when we left college that we wouldn't bring up anything that happened back then in Morgantown, West Virginia. So we're going to move on here again with Mr. Folkrod. Now, Bob, you are attempting to do something, I guess, that nobody has ever done before. Over a 5-year period, you are starting what's called the Obsession Quest Grand Slam, and that is going to be all North American big game animals, the African Big Five, and a slew of turkeys that we're looking at here. And you're going to do this over a 5-year period. And the unique thing about this is every single hunt is going to be taped. He's writing articles about his journey. It's going to be seen all through the world on national outdoor shows. Tell us a little bit about how that's going. You're into your 3rd year now, Bob, right?
Just starting the 3rd year. Actually, I'm halfway done. I'm halfway. I got 32 more animals to go, and you know, one of the things people always ask is, you know, why I was doing this, because they kind of know me as an archery hunter, and all of a sudden you're picking up a Browning firearm and going out and taking a bunch of animals. And there's lots of reasons I did this. You know, I sit there and I look at my grandfather that I hear nobody talk about anymore. And my father died 3.5 years ago, and virtually it's just a few of us in the family. So I just kind of wanted to pass something along to my sons or my son and whatever, and so I want to get this into a book form, and someday, you know, my grandson will sit there and look at a video, and so it kind of just passes a name on it. And at the same time, I'm picking up different pieces of equipment. You know, I'm using like a Excalibur crossbow. You know, and oh God, a crossbow. You know, and yeah, because you just heard CJ saying we got too many deer. It's not what the weapon you're using, whether it's a muzzleloader or whatever. It's out there, harvesting these deer, these animals, and getting along. And that's one thing with this show. When you walk around there, you see a lot of people selling their products and stuff. But by Gary, in this industry, everybody's getting along.
Well, Bob, we usually on the show here have a tip of the week on the Outdoor Icon Show. And there's a tip we'd like you to give the public. How in the world do you talk your wife into letting you disappear for 5 years to go hunting? Give us that tip.
You buy lots of flowers when you leave, I can tell you that. And one thing people don't understand is when I walk back in the door, of course the dog bites me, but it's a honeymoon starting all over again,
You did. I'll tell you what. We met your wife last night. She's a lovely lady and real supportive of what you do. And I'll tell you, that something like this couldn't happen, I guess, without a supportive family.
Oh, you need somebody back in the home fronts answering the phone calls and talking to the sponsors and letting people know, and the sponsors and everybody out there in the world on the website, just what you're doing. And she's, it's a team effort. She's just as much involved in it as I am.
Now, Bob, they're going to be mounting every one of the animals that you harvest, and they're going to be displaying them somewhere. How's that going to be taking place?
Well, it's one thing to put something like this together, and if you ever been to my lodge, it's got a nice lodge, and I've got all the animals I've taken with a bow and a lot of life-size mounts, and her and I are walking through there and said, my God, what are we going to do with 80-plus some animals, So I called Jerry Martin up from Bass Pro, and anyway, they decided they would accept the animals, and they're going to life-size all of them and put them into the Harrisburg store in Pennsylvania, which just opened up. Now, you think about that, and the elephant, which I just completed the Big Six this year. So you got elephant, Cape Buffalo, hippo, rhino, and when you talk about those animals, the first thing you do to say, like the younger generation, they think, oh, elephant, isn't that an endangered species? You go, no, it's never been even considered. Like Zimbabwe, they've got habitat that will accommodate 30 to 32,000 elephants, and they got an estimated population of 75 to 80. Well,
wow.
What would happen on a white-tailed deer situation like that?
Right.
It's devastation.
Now, what's been your most memorable hunt thus far that you that really say, man, that was something else?
Well, I always like going up north. I spent some time up north on a polar bear hunt and a walrus hunt this year, and those folks are totally amazing. I mean, the history of them surviving in the north, and they just don't run into something that something they don't think that can't be done. They just, if they run into a situation, they just do it. They're amazing people. And so and then you go to Africa and you look at the other half of the world, and I was in Russia, and I wished I could take every single person that whines about American right now and throw them into Africa or Russia, for a month, and then bring them back home. And we got the flood, to all these people lost their lives, and I tell you what, we got a lot to be blessed and be thankful for here in the United States.
Amen. Now, Bob, Bass Pro Shop, I guess, and Redhead gear is kind of your staple. That you've been with them for a few years here now, and your products pretty much stay pretty loyal to you, and you've been pretty loyal to the companies you deal with. Who are some of these people behind this quest that are supporting you the most?
Well, you got Browning Firearms, because that's what I'm doing this with, and you got Gore-Tex, of course, you got to stay out there and keep dry, and there's Walker Game Ears, there's Bass Pro, there's Hunter Specialty, there's a pile of them all the way down through there, and Swarovski binoculars, and it just I can't do it without these folks supporting me. And then at the same time, it's all about advertising. It's how much advertising you're going to give them. So as TV shows come about, articles come about, it's giving back to them. What they're putting into it also.
Now you're literally living the American sportsman's dream. Where Rob and I, us two stooges, still have day jobs. And even CJ. CJ has a successful writing career. He does a lot of volunteer work, FHFH, but he still carries the day job for the time being. You literally can hunt, fish, and live this lifestyle year-round.
Yeah, people ask me when I'm going to retire, because they see me walking around the floor, and you get a little gray. And when you're going to retire? And I asked them, I said, well, what are you going to do when you retire? And they go, well, we're going to plan on hunting and fishing more. And I said, well, that's what I do now.
Well, when are they debuting some of the videos? Because they're actually breaking up each hunt as a separate video. So when can the listeners out here maybe start
well,
seeing
if you
some
watch
of these
the
hunts?
TV shows, I mean, they're basically on every Sunday on Bass Pro Shop, and Gore-Tex has got a new show coming out, and every one of them is going to be has been taped. That's the challenge of it is get these animals on tape. And it's one thing to go out and take an animal, by yourself. It's another thing to have a cameraman following you around. So my guiding days kind of help that. You kind of guide the cameraman into where he's supposed to be, and then you take the animal and then you pass it on. And I go back to Kurt Gowdy. I mean, when I sat there and watched Kurt Gowdy, I would never in my life expected to be who I am and sitting and doing the same thing. And I dreamed about that, and I know there's a lot of people following on the website and the TV shows. I get people come up at airports, man, that's a neat deal, and it's just kids coming up, and there's a lot of dreams people watching those dreams there, and then they go, gosh sakes, I'm glad there's something on besides turkeys or deer, So it kind of shows them the other style of hunting too.
Well, that's interesting. Well, we got to take a quick break here. You listen to the Outdoor Icon Show here on News Radio 570 WKBN. I'm Rob Palowitz here with Denny Malloy. We'll be back in a little bit.
The Outdoor Icon Show, brought to you by Doc's Deer Sense, home of Doc's Double Doe 2 Deer 1 Bottle, on News Radio 570 WKBN.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. The winter season is upon us, full of holidays and sledding, skating and skiing, not to mention the shoveling too. But all this winter fun and work has its side effects too. Dry, chapped, cracked, and itchy skin. If your skin is feeling this way, quench your thirsty skin with the rich moisturizers of Utterly Smooth Utter Cream. Look for the package with the black and white cow spots and pick Utter Cream up the next time you shop your favorite hardware, pharmacy, or grocery store.
Original Utter Cream. It's utterly smooth.
When I was 7, we moved out of our apartment and into our own home. For weeks, my mother couldn't stop smiling, and my father, who had a voice like a foghorn, couldn't stop singing. Sometimes during dinner, Dad would say, "Right now, even while we're sitting here, we're building equity." Dad said equity like it was a wonderful, magical thing. Eventually, I grew up, got my own home, and equity is something I've built a lot of too. So I've chosen Farmers National Bank for a home equity loan, for some remodeling, and an island vacation. Why Farmers for a home equity loan? First, because I like their rate. And Farmers offered what I call a true rate, not an introductory rate masking a higher rate that kicks in later. Plus, Farmers' costs were fair with no hidden fees tacked on. So if you've built up some equity, see Farmers for a home equity loan or line of credit. Farmers National Bank, a wealth of common sense. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Greenwood Chevrolet, the Cobalt capital of America, located at 4695 Mahoning Avenue in Austintown, offers this salute to the GM Lordstown Assembly Complex.
Hi, my name is Lou Conti. I'm a financial supervisor at the Lordstown Complex location. I'm very excited about the Cobalt. I think it's a very good-looking vehicle. I think it'll meet with the market, and it'll meet with everybody's demands of what they're looking for in a vehicle, and I think it'll sell real well once it gets to the marketplace.
Hi, this is Vicki Raymond. I work out at the Lordstown Assembly Plant. I build the Chevy Cobalt. I think it's a good selling car. I've driven them. I'm a young person. I like the power, and the radio's nice.
Hi, I'm Bo Rose, and I work at the Lordstown Complex. I work with all our manpower coordinators. It's just great to be here, and we're building one heck of a car in this Cobalt, so let's hope we're going to be here for a long time.
This GM salute brought to you by the Cobalt capital of America, Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown, where you'll find the area's largest selection of new Lordstown-built Chevy Cobalts.
Travelocity presents The Roaming Gnome, denouncer of travel myths. Our first myth: if you book last minute, you'll pay through the nose.
Nonsense! Travelocity has last-minute deals from $199 for Flight Plus Hotel, just in time for the 3-day weekend.
Second myth: gnomes are not adventurous eaters.
Bah! Delicious.
Visit Travelocity.com or AOL keyword travel for details. Book with Travelocity and you'll never roam alone.
Morris Ray after the Buckeyes, then Rusty Humphreys at 8, all tonight on 570 WKBN.
Hey, we're Montgomery Gentry, and you're listening to Denny and Rob on the Outdoor Icon Show here on News Radio 570 WKBN.
We're back. my town. And my town today is Indianapolis, Indiana, broadcasting live from the Hilton, downtown Indianapolis, at the Archery Trade Association show, where literally everybody who's a mover and shaker in the archery industry is here. We were just talking during the break with Bob Folkrod, CJ Winan, Rob Palowitz, and myself about why this show is unique and why we like to attend this show. There's tens of thousands of people that come to this show in the industry, but it's kind of like everybody lays down their arrows to speak at the door. And once everyone's in here, it's just a big celebration, not only of bow hunting, but of the hunting heritage, the hunting industry. And there's a lot of, like Bob said, professional courtesy, where you see the guys from Mossy Oak talking to the guys from Realtree, and the guys from Bear Archery talking to the guys from Matthews Bows, and everybody sharing tips, and a lot of the pro staffers and the celebrities that you see that write the articles and are on TV, getting together to celebrate what we do and to celebrate our hunting heritage. And once they leave here, yeah, let's go out compete the next guy, as far as the sales of the product. But when they're here together, we all know it's all positive for the industry. Bob Folkrod, we talked a little bit about your hunt and some of your hunting experiences. People can really interact with you on a closer level. You put together and host a camp that people can go to learn how to be a better bow hunter?
Yeah, we call it a bow school, but actually Joe Byers wrote it up an article one time. It was bow hunting boot camp, and that's probably what it should be named. But it's something I'm really proud of. It gets a lot of the myths out of bow hunting. It separates 3D from bow hunting. All the targets are mechanical. They all move, and it puts you in a real life situation. And we got wall tents set up. Somebody walks in, lays down on a wall tent. And, man, I'd never go on a hunt if I had to lay on that thing for 7 days. And we got log cabins. And it's on hands. It's personal, and it's I'm very proud of it.
And that's right on the New York Pennsylvania border in Bradford County, PA.
That's correct. Yep.
And you'll help out with if you go to bobfolkrod.com.
BobFolkrod.com, you can see the school, you can see the Obsession Quest, you can see all the sponsors. It's just everything is on there.
And they can also follow your quest on BassProShop.com.
That's correct. Yep.
We encourage you, go to that website when you roll out of bed this morning or you get home out of the car. Go see BobFolkrod.com, and I'll tell you what, you'll learn some things to make you a better hunter. And Bob, I'm looking at him right here. Bob is just like our listeners out there, except he has the determination, the drive to do it. And all of our sports, we say all the time, we're all a big fraternity. And if we saw Bob in a restaurant, you'd realize he's just like us, but he's got the drive and determination to get it done and chase his dream and follow his dream. CJ Winan, Bowhunter Magazine, FHFH, how can they get a hold of you if they want to have a seminar? I'll tell you what, you did a seminar for us back in West Virginia for the Wildlife Society, and it's legendary. How can they get a hold of you, CJ?
Yeah, real simple. www.FHFH, Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry, FHFH.org. Or give us a call if you're interested in starting up a local chapter in your area at 1-866-GET-FHFH.
Or you go to Denny or Rob at Outdoor Icon and get you the info. We'll see you next week. Have a great outdoor experience.
Outdoor Icon with Denny Malloy and Rob Palowitz is brought to you by Browning Docks Deer Scents, home of the Docks Double Doe. 2 deer, 1 bottle. Join us again next Saturday when we talk about the great outdoors.